Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, brought to you proudly by Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, Barton Power Sports, Sportsman's Warehouse, and Best Care Home Services.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray as we come up on the weekend where we celebrate on November the 11th. And I know that's special for all of us that love our country and
Absolutely.
love those who have given the ultimate sacrifice for our country. And it's really unique because it's not only a national holiday, but it's my son's birthday. So, I mean, I can always remember it like that.
And
so,
Veterans Day
Veterans
is
Day.
just honoring all those that have given, those that are giving today.
Yes, yeah. And, you know, we got a guy on right now that spent a little time in the military.
Yes, he did.
You know, he was in the Air Force for many years. And, of course, when you mention Dannenmeuller, you just actually think crappie fishing.
Absolutely.
I mean, the man has been doing it. We're not going to age him a little bit. We was talking about that off the air, but it's always a great honor. A privilege to talk to Dan because not only is he the president and CEO of so many different things, and I got so many. The bio, I couldn't get it in my pocket, you know. So I mean, that's a long bio. But when it comes to crappie fishing and being a communicator, he's part of that organization that I've been part of since 1988. But good morning, Dan. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning. Having a cup of coffee with you guys this morning.
Well, that's
Yes,
great.
sir. It's
How's
a beautiful Saturday morning.
How's everything in Wetumpka, Alabama?
It's really wet.
It has been wet. Yeah.
It's really wet, and it's really cool. It's going to be really
Yes, it is. It's cold.
Well, it's one of those names I always like to say because I think of hee-haw when they all stand up in the cornfield and say that. You know, hey, salute to everybody out in the Wetumpka, Alabama. So I never did that to my town because mine was the city. But I want to talk to Dan. You know, Dan has many connections, and Ron's going to bring up the connection with Bobby Garland Lures because Ron is now part of that fast-growing crappie world that has evolved into trails and the American Crappie Trail and all the other things. And through a lot of it, this is through Dan's association and his magazine, Crappie Now. But Dan, let's talk a little bit about the evolution of the crappie fishing. You know, back in my day, growing up, it was, the minnow and the jig, which one was best and which one wasn't
the cork.
Yeah, and the cork was all there and everything. But from your side point, let's talk about that. What about where we are now and where we were? If you had to pick out two or three items that have changed the world of crappie fishing, what might they be?
I think the realization, both by the fishermen and by the industry, that this is a true sport.
Yes. Yeah.
And that two-sided equation works together to make it such that we can teach, people how to do beyond what you and I grew up on. I mean, I fished with a cane pole, a cork, and a minnow.
That's right. Yeah. Me and Buck Simmons were really, really close back in those days, So I can understand that.
Yeah, and B&M came from, that source from cane poles and mops and all that. And, plastics were not even thought of at that time, as far as the fishing. You had flies and things like that, but you didn't really have much in the way of technology. I think the two or three things is the industry and the fishermen and the growth in knowledge of how to catch those fish and the professionalism
there you go.
that we're growing to the sport into being competitive yet professional and being able to teach children, of all ages and families and parents how to fish, especially in the suburbs and, in the areas that have not been able to do what you and I did when we were growing up, all three of us.
Yeah.
And so I think those are big picture things. And I think it's going to continue to grow that way with all the professionalism in ACT, American Crappie Trail. And, tournament fishing isn't for everybody, and it's obvious in the numbers, but it always sets the gate for new technology sets the gate for new techniques. People look to us to teach them and to help them to understand how to fish it and to fish it more productively, and where they have fun. The 3-letter word, fun, fishing.
Yeah. Well, that's always good. And there's another 3-letter word that I like about crappie too, and that's called eat. You know, so I mean,
but you know what, Dan? You know, Larry's talking about the evolution of crappie fishing. I mean, where do you go now and get, say, something like a Bobby Garland, any kind of Bobby Garland bait, and you got a choice of 80 colors?
Oh man,
80 colors? 80?
Yeah,
is that right?
80.
Oh, I thought you said 8. 80 colors.
80 colors.
Can you name any of them?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Me or Ron?
Ron.
Well,
there you go, Ron.
Tequila Sunrise.
Oh, that's it. We don't have to go any further than that. He started right out with
tequila.
It's
called electric chicken on our side.
Electric chicken. 80 colors. That's amazing. And that's there. You can Dan, you can look at that and say, well, there you go, right there. I mean, we used to have 5 or 6 chartreuse, and I never could spell it. It took me forever to learn to spell chartreuse.
That's
right.
Or the styles of baits, where you can use different techniques to catch the fish. You can go out and cast, and you can go out and jig with a pole, vertical jigging, or you can push, what we call spider rigging, or rigging, some people call it.
Yeah.
And then you can pull baits, so whoever in the country, whatever technique they grew up on or learned, you can do it with these plastics, because there's styles and capabilities that we never had back then. I mean, if you got one style that looked like a shad, that was about it.
Yeah,
that's right.
That was all there was.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
But I mean, now with the laminated colors that Bobby Garland's got now, with two colors in a bait, and their new bait, everybody's been waiting on this, the Slab Hunter Minnow that's coming out. I've been testing that thing. Slab Hunter Minnow's coming in all kinds of colors. You've got probably close to 15 to 18 colors in that new bait, and it looks and acts just like a minnow. It is super for jigging, casting, pushing, or pulling, because of the action of this new tail. It looks like a minnow.
Really?
I mean, it really is.
Have you seen that, Ron?
Yes, I was at. I saw it.
Did you see it at the Whitey Outlaw thing? Did they have it?
No, well, actually, I got a few samples.
Oh, you got a few samples, yeah. Shipped to your door now.
But I first saw it at the Forestwood Cup.
Okay.
They were showing it there, and then I was at the Pittman Creek
Dealers
Show in October.
Slab Hunter.
Bobby Garland was there. Well, actually, George Tolson.
Yeah.
And
but the Slab Hunter is the name of it, right?
Slab Hunter Minnow.
Slab Hunter Minnow, and it
tail,
and it acts just like a regular minnow.
Yeah, looks like it too.
Poor old crappie. Crappie doesn't have a chance. You know that now. Just put it down there, and I mean, it's.
I know.
Yeah.
There you are. I mean, if they don't like one color and they turn off, now we've got these choice of colors, and that bait's going to come in where you get 2 tones, you get 2 colors.
Amazing.
And they've got it where it actually splits the bait in color, not only halfway down the bait to the tail, but you can also get it where it's, laminated, where it's top to bottom.
Well, and Dan, you told me one time we were fishing. They may be biting one color one day, but they could be biting another color another day. So you really need an assortment too, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Ron needs an assortment. That's what he's got right now. He's got more than an assortment. He has a trailer pulling all of his rigs behind him there. But
I can't say anything about that, Larry.
I would like to.
You ought to see Dan's boat.
Could we have a battle here, a 1-on-1, Wong and Dannenmeuller?
One day.
You're going to take a picture of what you're
next March or April.
Okay, all right.
You guys watch out on LROutdoors.com. We're going to take a pictorial tour
of Dan and Ron.
Dan's Ranger boat.
Okay.
And see what all he carries in it, because there's no room for anything else.
Well, I've told Ron he needs to get rid of that 14-foot aluminum. It just won't hold all the stuff now he's got. But
hey, talk about boats, Dan. It's we're coming up on wintertime real fast.
Yeah, we are.
Yes, sir.
What are some of the things that we need to do? What does Yamaha recommend?
Yamaha.
And what do you recommend?
Yeah.
One and the same. The one thing everybody wants to do is make sure that you get all the water out of the engine, especially if you're not going to use it through the winter.
Yeah.
Get all the water out. Put stable or a stabilizer. Yamaha has it. You can buy other brands as well. Put it in the gas to stabilize that gas, and make sure you run it into the engine so that it doesn't have. If you use ethanol, make sure that is done where it goes completely through the engine, and then change out your fluids. Your oil, change out your lower unit, all that, just to make sure there's no moisture in anything, and change out your fuel filters. And if you're in country where you're not going to use it, for 2 or 3 months, which some of our viewers are, make sure that you fog that engine on the inside so those cylinders and all that don't get any kind of rust buildup or anything during the winter. You want that engine to stay coated on the inside. So if you do all those things and you get out in the springtime, now it's going to smoke if you fog the inside of the engine, bring in that fogging material. It's going to smoke, the first time you take it out,
But that's a good smoke.
That is an excellent smoke.
Well, I know that you folks, you can go to lroutdoors.com. We will post today's show on the website as soon as possible, and you need to really click on in there to the third segment and listen to Dan, because that was some great knowledge there before we go in the season. Dan, thank you, buddy, for being on. Always appreciate your words of wisdom, and hope you have a great day. Ron's got his finger. You can leave the room, Ron, if that's what you need.
Dan, somebody wants to follow you.
Yeah.
And Crappie Mates, how do they do it?
Come on up and follow Crappie Mates on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can also go to Crappie Dan, as well as come on up and read crappienow.com.
There you go. Thank you, Dan, buddy. We appreciate you. Stay in touch, okay?
You guys, too, and you have a great morning. Enjoy that coffee.
All right. Thank you, Dan. All right, Dan Dannenmeuller. And I know that he's a walking encyclopedia of
he's really good for the crappie industry and for the fishing industry as a whole.
Well, he
does a great job.
We talked about that. We're going to have a segment next that John's going to join in on us, because this is a pretty amazing product we're going to talk about. It's called Hunt to Go. It's a clean shot shoot through gun bore cleaner.
That's incredible.
I'm going to have to look this up.
Put that shell in your shotgun. Shoot it.
Oh, that's right. You talked. We talked about last year.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about it.
There we go.
All right. Let's take a break. Come right back on Outdoors with Larry Ray.